Jen, and we are at Westwood Pets in Westwood, New Jersey. And Jen is going to help teach us how to trim a bird's flight feathers so that they don't fly away.
So, I mean, pretty much reasons why people would clip a bird's wings. It's not permanent. It's like cutting your hair. So you're not hurting the animal. So once they are clipped, eventually those feathers will molt out and new ones will grow in and the birds will be able to fly. But a lot of people like to do it in the beginning when they first purchase a bird because it allows the human to bond with the bird much more quickly and much more easily. Sometimes taking a bird to a new environment, in a frightened panic, they could fly off, fly into a window, or hit a wall. So this kind of prevents all that from happening. Other reasons people may keep a bird clipped is, especially in the summertime, there are dangers. Ceiling fans, open windows, open doors, where birds can get lost or injured, or even things people don't even think about, open toilets, boiling pots of water on the stove. All these can be a danger to a flying bird. So if you choose to let your bird fly, just be aware and make it a safe environment for your bird to fly around.
Okay, so who do we have here? We have a new little bird.
This is our new baby, a little cockatiel. He's only about 5 weeks old. So he would be a candidate for clipping. This way we can work with him even more closely. So this way when he comes home with the family, he's much used to human hands and is easier to bond with. So he's going to be our little demonstrator. And usually to clip wings, it's best to do it with 2 people. One to hold the animal properly so they can't injure themselves or bite you or the other person who's clipping, and then the other person to clip. So for like Liz is just going to gently secure his head on either side of the skull underneath the eye. Skull is the strongest part on the bird, so you can have a pretty firm grip. You are not going to crush his skull. The main thing is you want to leave the chest free. You don't want to compress the chest to make it unable for them to breathe. But she has her hand gently cupped over so this way his feet at the bottom can rest and hold on to her hand so he feels secure. So now, instead of letting him just sit here and flop, I would gently pull the wing out and holding it by the joint to make sure I don't stretch it in any way, shape, or form that is unnatural to him and could hurt him. And when we look, I know, buddy, nobody likes to be held against their will, so you are going to get a bit of a struggle, don't worry. There are different layers of feathers, and we are only going to cut the first 7 flight feathers. On top of that are coverlets, what they call coverlets. Those feathers you don't want to cut. I don't know if it is that they molt less frequently, but once they're cut, it takes a long time for them to come back. So when you gently pull out the wing, holding it securely because you don't want them flopping around. You also want to be sure that all the flight feathers are fully grown in. If you see a stumpy little feather, which he does not have an example of, you wouldn't want to cut that because that's a baby feather, which means that there is blood is still in the shaft of the feather, and if you cut that, he could possibly bleed. So I guess we'll demonstrate.
We'll cut one, and then we'll do a close-up after.
So after I have a firm grip, I'm not going to go for the whole chunk at once. I'm going to see where the coverlets are. I'm going to clip the first 4 or 5 in a nice straight line. And make sure you have fresh, clean, sharp scissors, because if you don't, you're going to make a mess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 more. It's okay, buddy. I know. And then 2 more. And voila. There you go. We have a, I want to stab myself, a clipped wing.
Nice.
Right? So now you're going to be lopsided.
Okay. So that was a good little demo. We'll do a close-up for you so that you can see a little closer. Thank you.
Okay, so here we have coverlets, flight feathers. And it's only the first 7 flight feathers. We're going to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I always count to double check. And 5, 6, 7. Neaten it up if I have to at all. Sorry, I'm doing it at this weird angle. There we go. All done.
Nice.
And then we can show that he's still very happy. And an important thing to remember is after you clip your bird, give them 24 hours to get used to their new feeling of not having the flight feathers. Just let them stay in their cage. And then once they're kind of comfortable, it's almost like when you get your hair cut really short and it feels completely different. You can start to take them out. Just be aware they're no longer able to fly up and away. So just make sure they don't crash behind any bookshelves or anything like that. And another important thing too is you only want to do the first 7 flight feathers. What I have learned through one of my customers, especially with larger birds, if you clip more than 7, like 8, 9, 10, these guys should have the ability to glide down to the ground and land safely as opposed to being able to get air and fly into another room. Larger birds, if you take that gliding ability away, they can actually fall and crash to the ground and receive injuries to their breastbone. So lighter birds, parakeets, sometimes you do have to take an extra feather because even they're such lightweight birds, they can still get flight. But otherwise, 7 is usually the norm and does a good job. And we can thank our lovely assistant for this demonstration.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a model, and thank you for the lesson.
Of course. Oh.
And coming to your local pet store is a great resource for you because they're knowledgeable about everything. They're pet lovers, and they've just been doing it for so long. They have so much contact with customers and information, and they do it hands-on every day. So that's why I came here with Jen. I didn't have that much hands-on. I knew a little bit, but she's an expert, and it's great to come and talk to someone who knows what they're doing.
And thank you, Liz. It was an honor for me to help you out in your video. And thank you to our little cockatiel friend. And we hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you.